think we're ready to start. Hi, everybody. Our next speaker serves as the executive producer at Wargaming, and currently he's focused on developing the next generation platform and game operation technology. Please, warm greetings to Minn.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you all for coming. This is my favorite topic. We're going to talk about monetization and feelings and emotions around monetization. First, I want to thank you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you for the 4C crowd. And thank you to the translation guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you very much. And yeah, now I'm embarrassing them. I listened to the translations yesterday. It was awesome. Thank you very much. Camera guy, thank you. We're all going to do this together. We're going to have fun. Because this is not my talk. This is our talk that we're giving for the people on the stream and the YouTube. So we're going to try to do some fun, interactive type stuff. So we're going to talk about what happens after your game goes live. You've worked really hard to get the game going. You got it to launch. And then what happens afterwards? That's what I want to talk about. Again, I'm Minn, executive producer at Wargaming.net, working on the platform project. So a little bit about myself. I've worked at a lot of different companies. Crystal Dynamics, I was lucky to be a game designer right off the gate. $8 an hour. That was still a pretty good wage for being a game designer. I'm very grateful to get it out of college. Blam was a small company that I ran on my own because I decided that I'm going to make my game. Worst business plan of all time. But, you know, you learn things that you don't learn in business school when you run your own company. That's a whole separate talk. I've done working at bigger companies like Sierra and Gazillion. And today, like I said, I'm working at Wargaming in the Seattle office on the platform team. So let's talk about why are we here? What are we actually doing? What are we selling? Let's ask, who's working on free-to-play? Yeah, that's almost everybody. Everybody's working on free-to-play. It's very interesting to understand that free-to-play means like we're actually paying people to play our games. Every time somebody pushes a button, some electricity is being spent, servers are spun up, things are happening, and it's not even like I'm selling anything. I'm paying you to play my game. That's a crazy business. And not even am I paying you to play the game, even before you get the game, I had to pay somebody to get you to install the game. What is it nowadays? Like $3 to $8 per install to just get people to play the game. So you've launched the game, you bought audiences, and then what do you do to retain these people so that they become your fans? These are just some ideas that I've had, and I'm happy to share them with you guys. What we're really selling is emotions, feelings, right? The feelings that we're selling is like when you had an awesome moment. I play tanks, I know, wargaming. I did get turned on to tanks and I couldn't stop, and now I'm deeply addicted to it. But there's times when you're playing the game and you're the last guy left and there's the other guy left and you're coming around the hill, the artillery shoots you but misses only just by a little bit, and then you kill him, 6 kills, you win. It feels awesome. And that's the feeling that we are providing and we're selling. That's our product, really, that feeling. I want more of it. Or the time when you're playing Hearthstone and you're ready to get the other guy, but then the other guy draws a perfect card and kills you and you lose by this much, and you don't want to have that feeling anymore. Avoidance of bad feeling, that's also emotions, which is what we're selling. That's why we're here, and we're trying to monetize that feelings of frustration, elation, heart-pounding suspense, fear, you know. That is our business. You know, you don't really think about it like that, but that's really how it is. So we're going to talk about our game design, monetization, and events. And let's look at a very important chart. This is the core loop, the session loop and the detention loop. You play the gameplay box. A lot of work goes into that. That's the rendering, the vehicles driving, the characters fighting, animations, a million things happen there. But after the gameplay's happened, you're out of that session and you are given onto the reward screen where you get something, and then you spend an upgrade and you repeat. You play, you get rewarded, you upgrade over and over and again until you're ready to stop. When you're ready to stop, free-to-play games have what we call the return trigger, a reminder for you to come back again. There are many different types of return triggers. Sometimes it could be like a daily quest. Sometimes it could be like, come back for the leaderboard challenge tomorrow, whatever. But again, it's interesting how, since I've been working in games 1993 and on, wow, that's a long time. And you can see that the gameplay session has gotten shorter and shorter and shorter, all the way up to now when free-to-play is very short. Because you imagine, yeah, I know, wow. 4-hour raids, right? You're setting up. In fact, it takes 2 hours to get the people together and then go on the 4-hour raid. My wife is going like, why don't you pause it? Yeah, I can't pause right now. She goes like, what do you mean you can't pause? Because like, well, people are gonna die if I'm not healing these guys. She goes like, oh, yeah, that turned into a whole thing. 4 hours of gameplay. So play for 4 hours, go to reward upgrade. Do you even get the reward? Sometimes, like your shit doesn't drop. Like some warrior gear dropped, and I'm a hunter. Now it's 15 minutes over here in War of the Warships, right? You play for 15 minutes, you get rewarded, you upgrade. This is Deer Hunter. You shoot once, and then you're done. Back to the shop you go, right? So 4 hours, 15 minutes, 2 seconds. To here's the next one, which is this game is called Venture Capitalist. You don't even play. You play for a while, and then you can buy you can buy a manager who pushes the button for you. That's where we are. So again, in the core loop, after you get the gameplay, the reward, and the upgrade going, and then you want to make people come back on the return trigger. So I'll show you a couple more examples. This is my current favorite game right now, which is an Elder Scrolls card game, Legends, and they have, the classic daily quest. Come back tomorrow, do something, and you get some coins. You can reset a daily quest if you like. Again, very simple, and I like having the choice of resetting. Hearthstone gives you competitive triggers. Come back to try to make that 578 become a 577, which is a lot harder than you think. And that's not me. I've never actually seen that. I'm not that good. So using those return triggers, how do you monetize on the next level, which is the live cycle? Are we here? Yes. The event triggers then go from reminding people to come back that day to setting up expectations to come back the next week, next month, seasonal events. And I'm going to give you some examples of the games that I've worked on and games that I like to play and show you how this is going to go. But before we go again, this is a chart that I found last year, from May last year. This is the world that we live in, right? Just games, 20,000 and more just games come out in 1 month, right? That's what? Let's do the math. That's 700 games per day. Crazy. Again, you paid money to get people to play your game and install it, and so you got to hang on to these people. You got to hang on to your audiences. It's a tough world out there. Again, this is the classic problem slide. I'm going to try to give you some solutions. So back in the day, before there was even graphics, there was MUDs, multi-user dungeons, and a gentleman named Bartle, Richard Bartle, came up with 4 different Bartle types of player categorization. Do you all know this? Do people know about Bartle types? Yeah. So it's just a way for you to think about not just multi-user dungeons, but how do you monetize the emotional triggers of your audiences. It's just a good way of organizing your thoughts. So here are the 4 different Bartle types: the killers, the achievers, the explorers, and the socializers. The killers, they club you over the head. The achievers, they're looking for the diamonds in the rough. The explorers, it's a spade because they're digging for unexplored corners of the world. And the social people are the hearts, we love them. They get their emotional triggers from helping other people, from creating groups, from interacting with each other. And so they all have their own different emotional triggers. And so you have to know what audience do you have for your game. Not every game, unlike a MUD, has all 4 types. That's step 1. Know who your audiences are. Then you can go through creating your post-launch events. thinking about the emotional resonances that these 4 types of audiences have for your game. So I'm just going to go through some examples. I'm happy to be interrupted if I'm wrong, especially about tank stuff, because I know I'm in Russia here, so we probably have a lot of tanks experts here. But game number 1 is a PC MMO that I worked on with Stuart back in the day at the Amazing Society. It's called Marvel Superhero Squad Online. This was a cartoon TV show with the cute Marvel characters, Spider-Man, Avengers, and everybody that were there. We made a game. Took about 2 years on with a Unity front end and a Smart Fox back end. This thing ran for 6 years before we shut it down, and I feel very proud of our team for having done that. Going live was awesome, feels great. All the team leads signed off and champagne and all that good stuff. But we were going like, oh God, we went live. What are we doing? We had about a 3-month runway of content ready to go. The content was, there's a socialization space. This game was targeted for kids, little kids. So it wasn't, we wanted to make sure that we had all the different things that would be appealing to kids who are fans of the TV show and the Marvel franchise. So socialization, you could of course fight as a team, PvE, co-op. You could decorate your own headquarters. And eventually we ended up putting out a competitive card game using the same artwork. And the initial monetization model was a subscription. I know. Anybody doing subscription right now? See, not a single person. It's all free. So, but this was back in 2011. Club Penguin was huge, and we were following in their footsteps for kids. And so we were aiming to get subscriptions for our main monetization model, and then later we put out the coin sales, microtransactions. I was a creative director on this project, so the decisions that we made on our events was based on this subscription model. And what that meant was that we had to create more value for that same $9.99 every month as the months went by. You wanted to feel like, yes, it was worthwhile. Yes, it's worthwhile even more again, because like the same 99 got me more stuff than last time. And to reinforce that, we were for sure making sure that we hit the same beats, same media events that was happening in the outside world, in the real world of Marvel. When the Avengers movie was going to come along, we were not going to miss that date. Very important. And this is a tough driver because we paid Marvel a big pile of money. I mean, we can't say how much. It was a big pile of money. Thank you, Stuart. He didn't actually pay. But big pile of money went to Marvel, and so we wanted to make sure that we had online events that were ready to go when the movies came out or comic books launched. So that was our main driver for a subscription-based model of creating events post-launch. So the explorers got new content to play. The achievers got more stuff to collect. Those were our 2 primary main audiences. The socializers had more stuff to share with each other. It was a kids game, so there was not a lot of killing involved. There was not a PvP, but there was a lot of there were additional bosses that they can fight against. Game number 2 example is, of course, World of Tanks. I know, I'm at Wargaming, so, you know, one of our coworkers told me, like, hey, Jay, don't even talk to me until you play 1,500 games of tanks, 500 games, 1,000 games, 1,500 games. Things happen to you, and you learn this game. It's a fantastic experience for how it just elicits certain kind of emotional reactions when you play this game. So, the top 3 items of monetization in World of Tanks that I know are exchanging the free XP. I'll explain this a little bit. Premium time and vehicles. So when you are exchanging the free XP, you have a favorite tank, and you can upgrade it to maximum level. But then you're still gaining what you call XP. And then that XP is locked to that vehicle until you unlock it with coins, with gold coins, and then it becomes usable for other vehicles. Super clever. And the typical going rate is 25 experience exchange for 1 gold coin. And that's a typical rate. And what it does is it creates acceleration so that I can have more free XP ready to go to spend on something else that I want to spend. Now, on top of just the vehicles itself, there's the crew guys who are driving the tanks, and they have skills that you can monetize into. I mean, you can upgrade. So the first one takes about 100,000 XP to upgrade, and second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth skills, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So by the time you get, I just added up the math for all the skills. By the time you want to get a seventh skill unlocked, you would have poured 26 million and more XP into this one crew guy. That's 50,000 games if you're doing pretty good, getting about 500 XP per match, and that's for one tank. It's crazy the depth of commitment that you can have for even just this one tank. And what that means is that you are never stopping. You have to make sure that that no matter what I'm doing, I am never topped out on my progression. Never ever stopping the gaining of XP or coins or whatever you've designed for your game. The next one is premium time. Again, it is also another factor of acceleration. This is a screen from Tanks on console. They do a good job of showing you, hey, good job. You have premium time, by the way, which is about, you could buy for cash or you could buy for gold. And if you have it on, every time at the end of every battle, you get 50% more than what you would have had. So this is clever because, like, hey, this screen tells you, good job, you have premium time. If you didn't have premium time, you would have only gotten 12,935 instead of the 19,000 that you got. You're very smart. They also show you the other screen. If you don't have premium time, wouldn't you want to have gotten the 19,000, especially if you had a huge, awesome game with 9 kills? 9 kills, that's impossible. Not for me, at least. And that again turns to acceleration. Again, these are the basic monetization mechanics. Last one is vehicles. You can buy vehicles, what we call premium vehicles, for cash on the store. But it's very important for me to let you know that what we say at Wargaming is the game is not pay to win. We are free to win. Not pay to win, free to win. Even if you bought a tank for cash, those tanks are not as good as a regular tank that you upgrade all the way to the end, all the way to maximum. These tanks are good, and they earn crew XP that I explained to you before a little faster, but that's it. And if you didn't want to go all the way from tier 1 through tier whatever, 8, you can just spend $24.95 and get a tier 8 tank and have an experience at that level. But again, that tank is going to be not as good as a regular tier 8 that you actually grind it up and upgrade all the way to the maximum. So some events, examples for World of Tanks are sometimes very, I don't know how often they do this, it's not very often, but you can get a 35-to-1 conversion on the XP instead of 25-to-1, and and then I find myself like pouring all my gold and my XP into doing this. Because you end up with a huge boost, and that lets you open up more progression into the next round of vehicles. Times 5, like 4th of July or some holiday type events, you end up, instead of typically, every tank has this is the daily trigger. I come back, my first game of every day is times 2 earn rate. But when the times 5 kicks on, the servers go crazy. People are playing tanks that they usually don't play, so you get weird and interesting matches. And so again, this doesn't happen very often, but it is a huge accelerator when you actually have the times 5 events happen. I don't think they turn it on very often. And sometimes you just want to have fun. So there's a soccer match playing with tanks. I've seen World of Warships events where they have like ships out in outer space. There's like zero gravity because we're a video game. It's okay to have fun. The point being that you don't want to have a high intensity, high yield, high effort events all the time. You want to mix it up. You want to have some low effort, low gain, high effort, high gain, and do that every once in a while, because you don't want people to hoard. You don't want people to be always knowing when the 35 times is going to happen or the times 5 is going to happen and waiting to save their currency to use it only on those occasions. So you have to keep it mixed up. Other game companies that I've talked to at different shows, they told me like they rank each event from 1 to 4 in terms of intensity, and they have a cycle. So the events that support free-to-play in PvP is, for World of Tanks, is we support the killers, because we want them to. The killers are rewarded by having a quicker path to their power, so they can win. Achievers, they have more stuff to collect. There's crazy people who have every single German tank ever, and I don't even know how they can do that, but there are people who do that. Explorers, there's some new ways to play, but not as powerful. And socializers, again, socialization in World of Tanks is more towards PvP, so it still serves the killers. Last game that I'm going to talk about is mobile free-to-play with co-op. It's a game called Marvel Sum Sum. I like Marvel. It's a cute puzzle match 3 game where you don't actually have grid, but you just like draw your finger over it and you play, and it's all done with Marvel characters. And those are the premium currency you buy. It's a buck an orb. This turns into I think you need to spend 5 orbs to do a gacha pull. Do you guys know gacha? People know gacha. Okay, gacha is like the random pack. It comes from the noise when in Japan you get this machine called gacha machines. You turn it, it goes and then you can get your prize. So 5 coins, 5 orbs get.
И здесь за 5 монеток, за 5 дней можно получить.
And they were, again, because they were a IP-based game, they also had to hit the same beats, movie beats. So this is a Doctor Strange event that came along with the Benedict Cumberbatch movie. And they also do other events that are more high intensity, but it also works with a gacha mechanic and the collection mechanic. You want to get all the certain kinds of characters. But when they run an event, like for example, if I have the Iron Man character, I can complete this event a lot faster with that guy than without it. I can still go all the way through, even if I don't have him, but it is a little bit faster with it. And that, again, you can see how that combines with the random character mechanics. I go like, oh my God, I can't finish this mission. I have to have Iron Man to do it, so I'm going to go and spend $5 a pop, trying to get that character to come out. So one other thing that this game really did for me that was really important was that it actually drove first-time monetization while the event was going. So when the event was running, I hadn't actually spent money on the game yet, and I needed to get a specific character, and that 12 orb for $6.99 turned into a 24 orb for $6.99, 200% sale. I was done. $6.99, thank you very much. I didn't even think about it. I already felt like I had gotten value from this game. I got way more than $6 worth of value for having played this game for days and days and days. The event rolls along, and I need a specific character. I'm going to go buy some orbs, and the special sale kicks in, and I was done. So the achievers get more stuff to collect on these events. The socializers, this is, by the way, a co-op game. And one of the failings of this game is that there's no chat channel inside the game, so you have to go to Discord and have a Marvel Something Discord channel, and then there you have the community and all that. Explorers got some new ways to play. The killers got some new bosses, and here's a few parting thoughts before I conclude the conversation. So I was working from home. I know Matt, yeah, working from home. So I'm Skype channeling, and then I'm also playing Magic the Gathering on the other computer, I know. Because I was working at home, I ended up playing a few more games than I normally do. And again, this is your daily quest. You're playing and playing and playing, gaining gold. And this screen came up. You earned the maximum amount of coins from the solo and rank play. You're not going to get any more coins today. The game is telling me to leave. Boo. You can't ever have that. You have to, again, we talked about that. You cannot ever have the end of progression, even on a daily quest. On the other hand, when you play Hearthstone, you can just keep playing. You never ever have to stop. Even if you buy expansion pack, a booster pack, and you have more, and you have the same kind, then you can turn it into dust, and then you can use the dust to create new cards that you do need, and you're always progressing. There's no regrets. It feels great. I'm $400 into this game. Don't tell the wife. And again, in Hearthstone, you never stop, never stopping. By the way, this is a funny movie. I don't know if you ever go watch it on Netflix. The other thing that happens that when you start missing events, this happens. The Discord channel, the community started getting sad really quickly. This is only after they missed the event for like a month. Nothing happened for a month because the expectations in the users was like, there's something happening every 2-3 weeks, and a month was missed, and people are going like, oh my God, nothing's happening. Is this game dying? And then people start to leave. Matchmaking starts to degrade, and the downward cycle happens. Ultimately, you end up with the sad, we're leaving. Servers are turning off, goodbye. By the way, what do we do with these people, right? We spent $3 to $8 to get these people to play. They've been playing your game. What are we going to do with these guys? If somebody else is going to make another talk about users and end-of-lifing, I'd be the first one in line. Max, you should give the talk at the next event and answer me these questions. I don't know. We have to really solve this question, because it's so hard to get people to play the game, and what? You're just going to throw them away? They told me to go away. This game has just told me to go away. On the other hand, you have Blizzard. They rolled out 119 patches for Overwatch since launch, which is about a year of time, and that's what makes the game so good. The community is always being given, they either own up to mistakes and say, we tuned something badly, and they patch it again. They put a new request, new content, and always be fixing their issues and creating new content and communicating and answering the needs of the community all the time. They never stop, never stopping. So last recap. Remember, if you use the Bartles player types as a way to organize your thoughts for your events, it's a good way to understand how each of your audiences are being motivated, what kind of emotions are being fulfilled. And remember, you're trying to create a community and retention, free to win. The very important chart that I talked to you about, which is using the events, you could create the long-term return trigger. It will create the expectations of stability, because you know that, hey, Christmas come along, there's going to be an event for Christmas time, people expect it, and you have to meet those expectations, because people have to feel like when they're spending money in your game that it's going to be around forever. Again, different kind of events will combine with your return triggers to give strong emotional responses. And then you can also use events to tune the game. If you made a mistake and some kind of currency is going out of control, you can use events to drain those kind of currencies out of your system. So what happens is, when you have created a good long-term loop, and you are on a steady cycle of events that satisfy people's emotions, what you're doing is you're changing people from game players into lifestyle. This is not just about like, I'm not just playing this game. This is who I am. I am, I'm a golfer. Actually, I'm not a golfer, but I'm a snowboarder. I am a golfer. I am a musician. I'm a tanker. I play Hearthstone, so I guess that makes me a Hearthstoner. No, just kidding. Again, from game to lifestyle. And when you're in a lifestyle, when you're going snowboarding, I'm not going to worry about how much the boots cost. I'm going to have the best boots possible. I'm not going to worry about whether I'm going to run out of coins for my tanks game, or I'm going to run out of whatever, some kind of other currency for my thing. It's who I am. It's what I do. And when you have a community of people who have shifted from game players to hobbyists, for them to become lifestyle, then your revenue will never stop, never stopping. Thank you very much. I love this topic.
So, any questions?
Oh, there's a guy in the back.
For achievers, for instance, some games, especially in Japan, have taken the approach of also selling physical merchandise as a way of adding collectability. Does that work for most games, or is that a peculiarity to the Japanese market, you think?
Oh, fulfillment of hard goods is tough. You know that, right? So I think in the world that we're in right now, generally we are focused on digital goods. I think again, once the lifestyle shift has happened, then people are going to be asking for merchandising on the side. I don't think I know of any. I've never worked on anything where I've actually had to fulfill hard goods for digital currency. So I can't really answer you that question, except to say again, there's people who are buying merchandising based on World of Tanks or Disney or Marvel or whatever. That just happens naturally. I certainly wouldn't recommend people doing any kind of like fulfillment of hard goods, especially like I know teams who have been trying to do a Kickstarter. They realize like, whoa, even giving T-shirts is a lot more work than they think it is. Any other questions? Hi, Max. It's coming.
Thanks for a great talk. My question is, you were talking about the giving users ability to progress infinitely, but it is also have the other side that if people see that they will never reach some end, they won't even try to do that. Is there any tricks how to hide this endless progression from users so that they still do that,
Well, you can't hide it. They have to see it. But again, you saw the ramp, right? The earning ramp is that there is like level 1 to level 1, and then level 2 is short, so you're making progression, and then you're going forward. But I wouldn't hide it. I would actually, in fact, go the other way. I would actually say, here, you can always be earning something towards the end.
So basically, in my opinion, World of Tanks did a great job hiding it from casual users, because they can see the progression tree, they see the
that's
end,
true, yes.
the
Good
end
point.
goal. They can get this premium tank or 10th level tanks, but inside there's encapsulated endless story of upgrading your stuff.
Right.
So
Right.
this was the tricks with World of Tanks. Maybe other games have other examples how to do that.
Yeah, the Marvel Sum game that I talked to you about, the progression is flat, actually. There are levels of increasing the characters inside of it, but you're right, they do tell you like you need this much XP to get to the next level and all that stuff, and they don't hide it, and you can see that it is a ramp, but they don't make a huge deal out of it and put it in your face. You're right, in World of Tanks, going from skill to skill, those numbers that I showed you before, that's not explicitly shown to your face. That is a calculation that I got from forums and from my own research, obviously, and I know people. So again,
Thanks.
it's very important to have endless progression. The thing that feels bad is like if you imagine if you had a favorite vehicle or character or whatever, and you topped out and you're not earning anymore, you're not going to play that thing anymore, and then you have to go to another whatever less favorable character, and so you're depriving people of their best favorite experience, and let's not do that. Why? Yep, bad emotions. Thank you, Stuart. Anybody else? All good? Great. Lunchtime. Thanks for coming.
We have many great people here at 4C today, and here's one of them. Hi, please introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Alexander Markovic. I am creative director at Ministry of Games, and I'm here to talk about city building games and design principles of those.
Nice. Do you remember your very first video game that you've played?
Sure, it was The Prince of Persia back in something like 89 or whatever it would have been. Yes.
It's a great game back in the day and still. What's your favorite game of all time today?
I guess I like mobile games, so at the moment I think my favorite game would be probably something like Brawl Stars or Clash Royale, so Supercell PvP titles, or on the other hand, some city building titles like Township.
What do you think about the state of modern video game industry overall?
Well, I guess there is a lot happening at the moment, which is awesome. The core games are doing awesome stuff. The casual games are doing awesome stuff. So I think it is awesome that inclusion is happening on all sides, right?
Anything that maybe irritates or saddens you, something that you don't like in the state of game dev today?
Well, the only thing that might sadden us is the sometimes there is a bit of lack of inclusion happening, and sometimes there is a certain amount of kind of toxic behavior that occurs in the gaming circles. But other than that, I think it is just moving in the awesome direction.
Well, it is moving in an awesome direction, and we're here to try and foresee it. Speaking of which, what do you see happening in the industry in like a 10 years' time? What will be the new thing, the new trend, do you think?
Well, hopefully the mobile games stay relevant, right? But other than that, obviously AR and geolocation games are super interesting, and stuff that's happening with that is super exciting, and also hopefully as things move forward, we get more inclusive or like more engaged worlds that we kind of play together with each other. And I think this is something that we're hopefully moving towards too.
Well, you're part of the industry, you can help move it forward. Speaking of which, how did you end up in the industry? How did you come here?
Well, I guess as anyone else, I just kind of liked the whole idea of the escapism of the games that was offered to us as we were young, and I just kind of stick with them throughout my youth, and it was a logical choice growing older, right?
What's more important for you in games that you like graphics, storytelling, the gameplay, or maybe a combination?
I guess in the end, for me, it comes back to the community and kind of the shared experience of playing the games. So it is in the end about kind of multiplayer of it.
What about the single-player games then?
Which are also awesome. There is nothing about games that is not awesome, right? So single-player games also cool. Whatever story-driven RPGs, story-driven text adventure games. There is nothing to dislike in those either, but for me, just kind of the multiplayer experience is something that drives the medium forward into kind of this new, less explored areas of just kind of playing with your, children or with your parents or with your grandparents. Why not? And I guess this is something that just excites me.
So the future is in multiplayer and socializing in games. Is that right for you?
Well, I hope it is I guess what I'm saying.
Well, we can move it over there. St. Pete, we're here today. What do you think about the city?
A beautiful city, repeat. So awesome times to be had all around, and I'm glad to be here. Thankful for the opportunity.
Glad to have you here. Also surprised you know the cult song about St. Pete. What about the conference? I know it's the first day, but what are your impressions so far? Maybe expectations?
Well, I've met some awesome people all around. I'm looking forward to hearing their talks, to hearing their thoughts on the future of gaming and the future of the industry, and have high hopes.
Any specific speech you're maybe looking forward to? Somebody you want to listen to?
So there is, for example, the Greg Street, the design director of League of Legends, will be talking about using user feedback to improve your game design. So this is something that, for example, I'm very interested in, and also anything from game design track is something that appeals to me very much.
Well, hope you find it useful. And finally, if you were standing here in my place interviewing yourself, what question would you ask yourself?
Whoa, not sure at all.
I guess you have all the answers then.
Yeah, possibly.
Well, I hope you find more answers here on 4C, and thank you very much, and have a nice time.
Thank you.
So we've prepared a few questions for one of our speakers. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Ville Rauma from Fingersoft, Finland. So, yeah, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Please tell me, what's the first game you have ever played, the video game?
I think that would probably be maybe Microsoft Flight Simulator 3. And
It was your very first, right?
yeah.
All right. Which one is your favorite today?
Right now, basically, Divinity Original Sin 2 is like really awesome.
It's amazing. I gotta agree with you there. And what led you to the gaming industry? How did you start?
Well, basically, I was studying in University of Oulu, and we had a training period where you go to a company, and there happened to be a game company in the list where you can pick where you want to go, and I was like, yeah, I want to go there. So that's how I got started.
So they just took you in?
Yeah, because it's like the companies kind of volunteer that we'll take trainees from the university, so you can kind of pick where you want to go. So yeah.
Sounds great. So what is your favorite thing about the video game industry today?
Well, I don't know. It's like it's really hectic, and it's quite kind of free kind of environment where people can really be, who they are, and it's kind of laid back. So I think that's pretty cool.
It generally is. But are there maybe things that make you mad or sad in the today's state of gaming industry?
Well, I don't know. Like, it's difficult to say. Sometimes there are things, but nothing pops to mind right now. Like maybe sometimes like they, especially like huge studios, kind of focus on single thing. You know how it is. Like sometimes there's only World War II games. And next you have only like future mech games or whatever. So it's like always these big trends and less about like innovation and new type of games. So maybe that.
Speaking of trends, do you see any trend surfacing in 10 years or so? How do you view the gaming industry in the nearest future?
Well, long term, like 10 years, I think probably there's gonna be big changes. Like of course VR, AR are big, but right now they're like really new stuff, so it's not really a big business opportunity right now, but that's probably gonna be big in the future. I think it's gonna take a few years, but yeah, at least that.
So you feel like technologies are gonna be the game changer here?
Well, at least with VR and AR, I feel like the experience is so awesome that when you do that, everybody who tries it thinks it's awesome, but right now it's just too cumbersome and complicated to do, so I think that's the biggest issue there. But yeah, also of course there's gonna be probably like different trends in the way games, like the kind of like the free-to-play model right now, how it is, probably will change. It's always changing. So yeah.
That's true. But speaking experiences, what do you think is more important in a game? Like the age-old question: is it graphics? Is it the gameplay? The storytelling?
Gameplay, of course. Yeah.
The simplest question of all. Okay, so what do you think about St. Petersburg?
I love it so far. It's first time actually for me in Russia and in St. Petersburg. So yeah,
And what about the conference?
yeah, it's looking really awesome. It's like well organized. So I like it.
What was the best question you were asked so far?
I don't know which game you are playing right now, of course, because I'm waiting to go back home so I can continue playing.
I completely understand you there. Which question would you ask yourself if you were interviewing yourself?
Oh, that's a hard one. What's gonna be your next game? And I couldn't answer right now because we are working on a lot of prototypes and we'll see what it's going to be. But yeah.
Right. Are you looking forward to any specific presentation? Which do you want to listen to most?
Yeah, I did mark a few. I don't remember the titles right now, but they were like interesting because there's a lot of like really cool people here who know like a lot about a lot of things. So yeah, I think for me maybe on the kind of leadership business track is maybe the most kind of interesting for me right now because that's my job. So. Yeah.
Well, you're one of the cool people here, so thank you for coming and thank you for being a part of this.